Hi. Today's word of the day, well, actually, every day's word of the day is poop. Just say it once. Say it once. Poop. So funny, isn't it? Poop. Anyway, recently, I haven't been able to stop mentioning poop or anything to do with it, which that's really not anything new because I talk about poop all the time. Do you ever stop to think about all of the jobs Poop and his brothers have? Yeah, they're all boys because we know that anything in anyone who's related to Poop has to be a male. I mean, after all, the rhyme does go, what are little boys made of? Frogs and snails and puppy dogs' tails. And what do puppy dogs always have on their tails? Poop. Hello. Duh. Before we even consider the job, let's talk about Poop's brothers. Well, okay, first there's Poop. He's the most normal and maybe the least offensive of them all. He has the more innocent younger brother named Duty. He has a twin brother. His name is Turd. And then there's his older, more rugged, rough around the edges brother. His name is Crap. Then there's the rebellious. Another older brother. He's the rebellious, offensive for most people, but always fun, and he always knows how to make a person feel better. His name is Shit. And then finally, there's the pretentious oldest brother named Feces. And sometimes he likes to be called Excrement, but that's because he's a weirdo. And nobody really likes him all that much for obvious reasons. And Poop, he is a wild sprinkling of distant cousins like Butt Nugget and Potty Animals, but they're not so important. And who's my favorite? Well, Poop, of course. And Shit, too. So, what jobs do these brothers have? Well, I'm glad you asked. Poop and his brothers pop up in all sorts of places, and because of that, I'll tell you some right now, and then I'll post another video at a later date and give you some more places that you can use Poop and his brothers. But for now, here's some for you to think about, maybe when you're on the pooper. When you don't want to get in trouble at work, you use Poop, Duty, even Turd. If the rules are mildly laxative, you can use Crap. When you're in the copy room away from your boss, or in my case, away from my students, the teenagers, you use Shit. When there's a mess in a diaper, it's Duty. When that mess gets all over you, that's Crap, sometimes Shit. When you take your dog out, they poop. When you step in someone else's dog's mess, that's Shit, and that person needs to learn to clean up after their dog before I take that shit and smear it in their faces. When your student writes a terrible essay, that's Shit, but you tell them it's craptastic because you say it's because you don't want to hurt their feelings, but it's really because you don't want to get fired. When you forget the hammer in the garage, it's crap. When you hit your thumb with the hammer, that's Shit. And some other choice words. When you forget your umbrella, it's crap. When a monsoon hits and you have forgotten your umbrella, it's aw, shit. When you use the public restroom, especially the one in Nordstrom, because that's the fancy crapper, John, shitter, whatever you want to call it. It's Poop, unless you're a girl, because apparently girls don't poop, which we all know is a lie. I know is a lie. My husband knows is a lie. But when you use the public restaurant, not the restaurant. Hope you're not pooping on the table. That's really disgusting. When using the public restroom, it's Poop. When someone else leaves leftovers in the public restroom, It's nasty shit. And that human being needs to be wiped. Yes, wiped off the face of the planet. Yeah, especially if you can't flush your own turd, your own shit, nasty shit. If you can't flush that, then you deserve to be wiped off the face of the planet. Now, if it's because the big swishy one, the ones that swish themselves, that sometimes swish when you're not ready for them to swish, and they almost scared the shit out of you or back up into you, if that doesn't flush their poop, well then I think there's something wrong with that person and they need to seek medical attention, and we should not wipe them off the planet. We should just feel sorry for them. And when the poop, I've been talking about poop so much, when the Pope, his name is way too close to poop. Who thought of that? When the Pope goes to the bathroom, it's holy poop. You thought I was going to say the other one, didn't you? Please. I'm not sacrilegious. Since I like to talk about poop so much, I will save some of those other ones for a later date. But first, one of the things you need to know is that poop also has a son. His name is Fart. He's just as funny as his dad. He also has a habit of making yoga an extremely unpleasant, uncomfortable, and awkward experience. Look at the dog, she's staring at me. And she looks like she's about to lick her butt. Anyway. Yeah. Fart, he tries to hold himself in during downward dog, but sometimes he just can't help himself and he eeks out. And that makes for an embarrassing moment. So at a later date, I'll tell you a bit more about Fart and his brothers, Toot and Flatulence. But those are for another day. Before I sign off, let me answer a question you've probably been asking yourself. Why does this girl continually talk about poop? Well, I blame my brother, as with most things. Well, my dad too, but mainly my brother. When I was little, this is another emotionally scarring story. Maybe more so than being hanged on a doorknob. I don't know. Maybe it's a tie. My brother told me I was a turd my mom squeezed into the toilet. Yes, squeezed from her butt into the toilet. I started crying. She felt sorry for me, so she pulled me out of the murky water. I had to be incubated in order to survive. You thought it was bad when your brother told you that you were adopted? Well, at least he didn't convince you that you were a turd in the toilet. And you know what the worst part of that story is? I actually believed him. So, the next time you wonder, what's wrong with that chick who talks about poop all the time? Just remember that my cruel older brother conned me into believing that I was an incubated turd. Oh, and you want to know his term of endearment for me? Shithead. Yeah, explains a lot, eh?